Yo, what up, Street Talk, Street God, Street Vlogs, or come in the house, right? Some turbo thoughts for us. So yeah, I guess there are some upsides of living in the burbs. So it's just like spraying down the car is like so convenient. It's like instead of having to take your car to the car wash, just being able to pull out the hose, spray down the car, even though it ain't perfect, kind of seems to get the job done pretty good. Also another thought, why Tesla is the future. It's funny because at this point, at this point, like when people say EV or electric cars and like that, it's like what you really mean to say is Tesla. It's kind of like when people's like, give me a Kleenex or a tissue, right? It's like you give them a Kleenex, you don't give them a paper towel, I suppose, right? Or the same thing is like, you know, when people talk about cryptocurrency, right? I think they mean to say Bitcoin. So this is why I'm still at the moment still 100% committed to the Bitcoins. Bitcoin BBBB was going to be my new license plate. Yeah, invest in the best. It's kind of like also with like, you know, I was a early adopter of Android instead of iPhone, and then finally get an iPhone, iOS, Apple device. And it's like a bajillion times better, even though it's like, you know, obviously you're more unique if you don't have a Apple device, but it's just far superior. So in some ways it's good to just invest in the dominant technology. Same thing with websites, like, you know, you could do these funny domain extensions, but ultimately .com is still the best because it's kind of makes sense, right? Oh, whoa. Ooh. Yeah, so that's some thoughts. Some other thoughts. Oh yeah, so why Tesla the future is like, I don't know, I think normal cars are just way too loud. And nowadays it looks like the Novo privilege is quietness. So another thing is like living somewhere, doesn't necessarily the suburbs, but like being able to live in a neighborhood or a house that's quiet. Because one thing I discovered about humans, we actually never get used to loud noises, and as a consequence, noise pollution could actually be one of the worst things for our well-being and our health and our brains. So one of the critical errors I did when living in Providence, Rhode Island, found a super nice place and good price, but it was like right next to a major street, and at first I heard the street noise and I didn't think it was a big deal. It was a fucking terrible, like, I lived in that for like a year. It was like the worst decision of my life. But also it's good because that's why in some ways renting is smarter than buying, because like I don't think there's yet a concept where before you buy a house or a condo, whatever, that you could test live in it for like a month or 2 or 3. So even one fun idea I had as an experiment is 안녕하세요. Love my thingies. As a fun experiment. Love my doggies, my dogs. Love my dogs. 잠깐만요. He figured out how to use the. He figured out how to use the water spray. I think actually the biggest joy is seeing your kid happy. Granted, they're just not eating bad stuff. Anyways, love my doggy. And yeah, so even a thought I had too is like, if you're not quite sure a certain neighborhood will be good for you or not, just Airbnb, even though it might be expensive, like $1,000. So I mean, Airbnb a place or a neighborhood. 안녕하세요. For like a week or a month or whatever before you have to commit. Or even you could just like, I think like, especially these apartment like people are actually much more flexible than you think they are. You think the terms and conditions are set in stone, but everything is flexible and negotiable. So you just even test, like even with cars, right? Before you buy a car, I think a good strategy is to just own it for like a week or a month before you commit, right? Like before you buy a Tesla, right? It's just see if you could just tour it or borrow it for like a month or a week. Take it on a road trip before you really commit to buying it. And this is why I never desire to buy or own anything. So anyways, thinking about the future, it is don't buy nothing, because you're gonna get stuck with it.